Meanwhile, market analysts say the bourse isn't likely to sustain this momentum to the end of today's session. Sam In, a stockbroker at TFS Securities, joins me now for an update on midday trade. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Sam, for your time. Let's start off with the numbers that we're looking at. It looks like investors are hot on the heels of Guaranty Trust Bank and international breweries. What do you think could be the reason behind this?
No, basically, like we've always enunciated, once the market goes down, it creates value. And once you see this value, as a bargain hunter, you want to come in to take advantage of it. That basically explains why there's so much bid for the stocks of Guaranty International Breweries, Zenith, and UBA, because basically these stocks are about 20 to 30% below their fair value. So it's a good value that is being created by the market for discerning investors to be able to come in, make profits and, smile to the bank.
Okay, talking about banks, I don't know about smiling, but last week bank stocks took a big hit from investors, and I'm wondering, of course, one or two analysts have said that many of them now present a very good entry point for investors, but I'm looking at just two or three of them on the best performers list. Do you think we could see more banks looking more attractive today for investors?
Yeah, I think so. The reason why banking stocks are taking a hit is because of the sudden increase in CRR from 12% to 50% on public sector deposit. Now, that has actually affected liquidity in the sector. And so most analysts think that it will affect the bank's earnings, and then they quickly decided to sell. Now, while investors were jumping out of the window on banking stocks, it affected the prices and then created the value we are seeing at the moment. Now, if you ask me, whenever any of the markets, as in stock market, bond market, or the money market, whenever the market is bearish, it creates a good entry point so that you could come in and take advantage of the value that is being created. The problem here is whenever the market is bearish, most people run for cover, but because they don't have that breadth and depth, they don't come in, and they'll probably just want to come in when the market takes an upswing, and that is not actually the time to come in. The time to come in is when the market is bearish, when people are fearful.
Do you think we have more of the short-term players or long-term players in the market right now?
From the figures, it does look that we'll have more of the short-term players, because if you will look at it critically, because of the discussions in New York that Fed might scale down the bond stimulus program, a number of foreign investors have sold down on their portfolio, particularly in the bond market, and that has caused the low volume we are seeing in that market, and also affecting our own equity market. And comparing the disposition of the foreign investors and our local investors, it appears that we have more of the short-term investors.
Okay, going forward, let's talk about those stocks that could make headlines today, and of course your own favorite picks for today, perhaps about 5 of them. What sectors do you think, stocks do you think investors would have firmly on their radar today, apart from these early gainers, international breweries, Guaranty Trust Bank, and Zenith Bank? Okay,
if you don't mind, I'd like to look at it from the all-share index. Fundamentally and technically, indicators suggest that the all-share index might go down the more. We are looking at a stabilization of, say, 35,820. That might not be a good news for anyone to hear, but it's likely it will get to that. So I'm going to wait for the market to move down the more in order to enter. My picks include Transcorp. Probably looking at entering Transcorp at between 1.21 to 1.24. First Bank is very good at the current price. UBA is also good at the current price because, like I said earlier on, they are about 25 to 30% below their intrinsic value. So these are some of the stock picks I am recommending with the entry prices that we should also look at to guide our entry.
Although we haven't had a raft of earnings, particularly Q2 earnings from insurance companies, but we have seen some strong interest, especially in the last 2 weeks for many of these companies. Do you think that bargain hunting could continue this week, today, or perhaps for the rest of the week?
It might continue because the result for ICO, for me, not too impressive, but it is good. It suggests the company coming out of the woods. And like you said earlier on, Mansard has done over 55% in the gross earnings. We know that dividends, interim dividends about 4 kobo. That shows strength. And I think a number of the insurance companies might want to also release their result as we go, because we know that NEM, as we speak, is set to release their result. And if and when they do, the results are good, they might begin to turn the searchlight to the insurance sector. We know that NICOM is making a lot of policy changes to see how to jumpstart the industry's recovery process. And I'm also aware that the stock exchange is discussing the possibility of removing this pair value thing. So if pair value is removed and insurance sectors, insurance stocks can go below 50 kobo, then it will probably create serious value in that industry. So I think the managers of companies in that sector are aware of all of this, and they are working around the clock to ensure that their earnings improve so that they could be out of the woods completely. So for me, I think the positive efforts that are being made by the managers of those sectors will translate to good earnings as we go along.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the all-share index. We're currently below 30% for the year, around 29% year to date. Obviously, the market is still in a correction, and I've talked to quite a number of stockbrokers, and they continue to tell me that they're not expecting the market, at least for the month of September, to pick up significantly. So how much lower do you think this all-share index could drop?
I think it might go as low as between 35,820 to 35,860. You could see this range if you look at the charts. So, and the pattern on the chart has done what you call a double top. And if the measuring indicator is anything to go by, it might get to say 35,900. But because the stabilization is about 35,820 to 35,860, I think this is just a good range where the market might stabilize. And other indicators are also suggesting that it is not yet in the oversold region. So chances are that it will go below 36, stabilize at around 35,820 to 35,900.
Okay, now Sam, obviously the market is in need of searching for some kind of major catalyst to help revive activities.
Exactly.
Now, what if at all we do see that catalyst happening at the market, what do you think it could be?
I wouldn't know what sector to expect, but if anything positive should happen from the global economy, say in US, Europe, it will affect us positively.
All right, thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your thoughts with us on market trade at midday. Sam Ine, stockbroker at TFS Securities, talking us through market trading at noon. After the break.